Welcome to the Happiness and Success After Illinois Tech podcast with the Illinois Tech alumni. We're so happy you're here, and we can't wait for you to be inspired from all these real-life stories of people that attended Illinois Tech, graduated, and found success. No matter your major, your background, or where you're from, success and happiness are possible, and here are the stories to prove it. Welcome, everyone, to this episode. My guest this week is Gus Lawson, and Gus and I were introduced by BJ, I think.
Yep.
On LinkedIn several months ago. So I'm happy to have you here. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Julie. I'm grateful to be on and hopefully can provide some value for some folks.
Of course. We're happy to have you. So let's just jump right in. When you were at Illinois Tech, what did you think you wanted to study when you graduate? You know, like you get in, you pick a major. I know for me, I thought I this major, and I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So was it what you wanted it to be initially? Did you stick with that, or did you change? Was it what you wanted the whole way along? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was pretty driven while I was at Illinois Tech. And so just some context there. Imagine it was 1986. A 14-year-old boy living north, just 1 mile north of Miramar. At the time, it was Naval Air Station. Now it's a Marine Corps Air Station. And I saw F-14s and F-18s fly overhead every day. And so it was a no-brainer for me. I wanted to be an aerospace engineer, and I wanted to fly for the Navy. And so I was pretty driven up towards that. And sure enough, not only was it my dream, but you might have heard this movie called Top Gun. It spread my dream across the nation, and so in my freshman class, specifically in the fraternity, I think there were close to 20 of us, and of those 20, I want to say at least 15 or 14 had the same thing. They wanted to be aerospace engineers and wanted to fly for the Navy. So I was pretty driven, and I did graduate with my aerospace engineering degree. And while I didn't become a pilot, I did serve in the Navy and loved every minute of it.
Wow, I don't think I've ever met. Well, I meet aerospace engineer prospects all the time at Illinois Tech. And I know a couple of them that graduated and because they were in my son's class back in 2019. But it's fun to talk to someone that had a very obvious goal, and you're like, I'm doing this, and you said the word driven. Because it's like when you're that driven, it's because you are so sure that this is the thing you want to do. And I love that you had that passion for it. And you're like, no, I'm doing this.
Yep.
That's awesome. I don't meet many people that knew that early and then like went and did it.
Yeah.
Usually they got there and they changed their mind or whatever along the way.
Yeah. And I'm thankful that, bringing this back to my kids, that I respect that we're all on different timelines. And so, don't compare yourself to others. Just because if you see somebody else that maybe is driven and you're still trying to figure things out and identify what's next for you, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100% okay. We'll find the right time, the right path, and it'll all work out.
I love that. And I couldn't agree more. I was one of those people that I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in high school, but I met people in high school that were like, I'm going to this college, I'm going to get this degree, and then I'm going to do this job and get married and have kids. And I was like, how do you know that? You're 17, you're 16. I remember thinking that I was the exception, but actually they were the exception. You meet very few people in high school that know exactly what they want to do and then go do it. Usually I'm going to do this because my big brother or sister did this or whatever, but I thought there was something wrong with me because I didn't know. And then I got stressed about not figuring it out. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're a teenager, So I love that you said everyone on a different timeline, and sometimes it takes people longer to find it, but that's okay as long as you're going for it.
Yeah.
As long as you're trying to find it, you can't give up finding it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't couch surf, 80 hours a week, just saying, oh well, I don't know what's next, and I'm just going to stay where I'm at.
No.
Well, that's obviously not healthy or productive. So yeah, you just got to keep working at it little by little. And even if that means you've got, maybe it's not a fulfilling role, but it's, paying your bills, it's allowing you to do some things on the side, that's okay. You can keep working at your new goal while you've got this other thing landed. Sure, it sounds sexy to say, oh, well, I just quit my job and leapt into something else. Well, that's not necessarily the most responsible way to do things.
Agree, agree. And some people can take the risk and some people can, depending on you, on
Yep,
where you are in your life. So I'm glad you brought that up too. You can be, which is why I wrote a book. It's about being happy and successful no matter where you are in life. And the reason that it was so important to me was because you're not ever, if you're never exactly where you want to be, you still can be happy and peaceful and content and joyful and grateful and all of those things along the way. And
yep,
chances are it's going to switch a lot of times over the course of your life and career. It's okay, it's normal. But if you're just miserable trying to find out the next thing, that's also, you're going about it that way. Well, number one, it'll probably take you a lot longer. And number two, you can't wait to be happy later. If you're
yep,
always waiting for the end goal to be happy, you're missing out on a lot of life along the way. So
yep,
you and I can both agree, with all of our wisdom and being a little bit older, that's the whole point. Like, you have to figure it out while you're doing it. It's okay to
yep,
like this job so and then do something else that you love and have a great family around you, whatever, and you want to choose for your life. But all of those things work together to get you to the next place.
yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree 100%.
Yeah. So when you graduated with your aerospace engineering job, did you so LinkedIn, I know when I was in college, LinkedIn was not really even a thing. What did you
Yep.
do to try to find your job? How can people now relate to what you did to get a job? Did you have a lot of connections? Did you go to job fairs? What'd you do?
Yeah, so I was fortunate since I was a Navy midshipman. I had my ROTC scholarship while I was in college. And so, as long as I fulfilled the requirements of the program, I had my job day one. And so, knowing that I was going to serve in the Navy, that took a lot of pressure off of things.
Okay.
Um, I know a lot of times people wonder about internships and those things. Well, um, I didn't really apply myself that way, and regrettably, my time in the Navy, I was on ships and I wasn't doing engineering, so a lot of that aerospace engineering knowledge that I had just wasn't put to use, and no fault to the Navy, they had me driving ships and I loved it, but if you're not using a specific knowledge base or a skill set, it's going to erode over time. Um, but yeah, as far as the internships goes, I didn't feel like I needed to pursue those. And so we had some really fun jobs. The fraternity I was in, you'll hear me talk about networking later. We were really strong networked. Um, the year before I got there, the US Open was in Medina, I believe. And so a lot of the people worked in support of the US Open there. My freshman summer, we went up to Chaska, Minnesota, and worked the U.S. Open there. We had a summer job working the cruise boats in the Chicago River. It was just, jobs that were passed down from classmates to classmates, and it was just really a really great way to, build those connections with people and then get to know more about the city.
I love that you brought that up because I tell students all the time, like, why don't have an internship, or that, they don't, you really only need one really good one to get a job. It's the number one thing employers are looking for right now. So they're anxious to get one, but some of them are like, I want to do two or three. It's like, but all of the other experiences, like you just summer jobs, things that you can do that are to earn money, obviously. Maybe they are part of a passion or a hobby, or they are part of something that's going to help you with the degree. Either way, you're meeting people,
Yep.
you're engaging in different experiences, and it's going to help you be more marketable later. So they'll say to me, well, I want to put more internships. I'm like, should I put this job in there? Should I put this volunteer experience, this project, whatever? I'm like, you should put all of it on there, because all of that is going to aid you in getting the job you want. And it's
Yep.
going to help you stand out, because if everyone else is equal with the degree, which they are when they graduate, this is the degree you need to get that aerospace engineer job, and everyone has an internship. If you have other experiences and you can prove that you're going out of your way, in most of the time doing really well in school, and still have these jobs and these other things that you're building, it shows that you can be this well-rounded person. And that's way more appealing to the job force and employers than just a person
Yep.
who's smart and got an internship, because
Yeah.
there's more to it when you get out into the real world, of course.
Well, absolutely. It's like I tell my kids all the time. Yeah, your knowledge is one thing, but how you're connecting and relating with others is equally important, and in fact, if not more important. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yes, especially if you're smart, that means you can learn pretty much anything. They
Yeah.
want to know that you're going to do the job, that you're going to be a good fit in that culture, and that you can contribute in all these different ways. And if it's just about being smart, so is everyone else that's applying to the job.
Yeah.
There's got to be more, and they want more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. Is there anything you wish you'd learned sooner when you were at Illinois Tech or a student and graduating and doing those first couple jobs in the Navy?
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson learned, and this goes back to, about 8 years ago when I was unemployed. Um, I was 43 years old and I realized I'm not going to find my next job just doing the job search lottery. And, I mentioned networking, and my old beliefs were that I didn't need to network. My good work and my work ethic are enough,
Hmm.
right? And while that's an admirable trait for a lot of people in the Midwest, and I'm not originally from the Midwest, um, that blue collar work ethic, and um, that takes you only so far. And even though I was good at building friendships and relationships, when I got into the workforce, that kind of fell off, and the networking again piece kind of fell off. So, um, if you're thinking of, oh, well, networking, you have to be slimy or salesy, or no, you can be your authentic self. You can give first. You can put your energy and effort into other people and help them by either connecting them to resources they find valuable, introducing them to others, giving them information. There's so much value in networking that I wish I would have known more about it and actively participated in it when I was younger.
Yeah, so I have kids that are 21 and 26 now, and one's a senior at Illinois Tech, and the other one graduated 4 years ago from there. He's like, Mom, I wish that I had knew. I was telling him to do that, of course, but they don't always listen to
Yeah,
us. Get into it sooner because you're going to need those connections. At least go to class, at least get to know your professors so that they can, if you do need a favor, they know who you are and they want to help you. But I was always, make these connections and go out of your way a little bit. Sure, it's uncomfortable and no one wants to do it, but you're going to stand out because you're doing it. And of course, some of them, some kids, I'll figure that on my own later. Yeah, sure, Mom, sure, Dad. I'll get to that when I get to that.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden they have to get to that. And it's 2 months before they're graduating and they need to get a job and they wish they would have
yeah,
had a bigger network. I've never met anyone that says they wish they're okay starting networking later. I've been doing this
yeah,
podcast for almost a year now. And it's like, not one guest has said, yeah, just wait till the end. You got to do it in the beginning from day
yeah,
one. But like you said, it doesn't need to be sleazy and salesy. It's just, I teach this too. And I know my colleagues do to the current students. Ask questions, be curious about them and their company when you're meeting with the careers. Don't just walk up and start talking to yourself. I was related to dating for them. I'm like, if you wanted to date someone, you wouldn't just walk up and tell everyone how great you are. They would just turn around and walk away from you. They don't want to hear how great you are. They
yeah,
want you to know if you're interested in them. I go, so you have to do the same thing for employers and their people that are standing there. If you walk up and say, I heard you guys just got this really cool award, their eyes are going to light up and they're going to want to tell you about it. And they're going to remember that you asked them, because five
yeah,
people behind you are not going to ask them anything. They're just going to
yeah,
start talking about themselves. So we teach this now, and because we've been in the corporate world for a long time, and we're like, this is what works and this is what's going to help you stand out. And they're nervous to do it. Well, how do you know what to say? I'm like, that's the beauty of asking questions.
yeah,
Questions are easy.
yeah,
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 you do all the talking. All you have to do is start the question, let the other person do all the talking. You
yeah,
leave the interaction, and they're like, wow, that was a great conversation. You barely said anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the best way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I encourage people to play detective. And what I mean by that is not to pry into people's, personal lives, of course, but find out what you have in common. What are those common threads? Did they also go to Illinois Tech? What do they do for hobbies? Where are they originally from? What are they binging on Netflix or Prime right now?
Yep.
Just some very simple questions to get to know people. And um, overall, this is a generalization. We're such a transactional society. The more that we break out of that mold, it goes a long way to establish our brand and who we are as people. If we do, here's my favorite question. What's something you're excited about?
Love that.
because now it gives you the opportunity to follow up, right? So, someone I know recently, they were excited about their trip to Ireland. Oh, well, my honeymoon was in Ireland. When are you going? Oh, well, they went in mid-October. So, right before they go, hey, just thinking of you and your trip. Have a fantastic flight. I can't wait to hear about your experiences when you get back. And then give them 2 weeks to settle in. Hey, what was the best part of the trip?
Yeah.
Now I've stood out because I'm not transactional. I'm developing the relationship. I'm curious about them, and really, it's again just an opportunity to help stand out and build that brand.
I love it. It's such a great question. What's something you're excited about? It's so easy to ask. And then it can relate to something personal, something professional. But like you said, then you find out something you have in common. Oh my gosh, I went there for my honeymoon. And then you're like, now you have this new connection. You can be something you
Yep.
can be excited about. This is how it works. And this is why post-pandemic, it's so important for the students to be meeting people in person and getting used to doing these kinds of things we're talking about, because people got lax in doing it, for 3 years. And I get it. And even before the 3 years, even before the pandemic, they were getting lax. Younger people, they were just, everyone's on their technology and they're head in their phone. I'm like, that's not how you're connecting to people. That's not,
Yeah.
it's not how you're connecting to people. It's not how you're going to meet your next boss, your next whatever, your next girlfriend, boyfriend, you name it. It's not how it's going to happen with your head in your phone, or your computer. So it's like, I always say, just like look up, there's so much stuff that you're missing. But now they have to go from that awkward, we weren't doing it, no one was doing it. People got so used to not connecting. Now that they're having to do it, they're definitely more anxious and nervous about it. So we just let them practice, and with us, when there's low risk.
Yeah.
And I tell them too, you're gonna have to do it forever. You're gonna have to do it in your personal life, your professional life. You're gonna have to do it at job fairs, at corporate meetings, at events. Like, you're always going to be doing it. So don't think of it as, we talk about building relationships, because they think of networking like I have to go say hi what I'm good at and then ask you what you're good at. It's like, that's not it. It's building relationships and developing connections with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, Gus. So what's the final best piece of advice you can offer college students, people that are looking to start their careers, just graduated, or, they're in their career already 1 or 2 years in, they're like, I don't know if this is right for me. What would you say to them? Or what would you say to your kids?
I think I think really it's trust your gut. If you find yourself at a company and it just doesn't feel right, it probably isn't right.
Hmm.
Um, if you then say, okay, well, let me give this same role an opportunity at another company. Okay, well, and maybe you're not feeling it there either. Okay, well, all right, let's peel back the onion. What's at play here?
Hmm.
Is it something that you need to take responsibility for? Is it that perhaps this line of work isn't what you're really passionate about? Uh, so the Japanese have what's known as the Ikigai framework. And I don't remember the 4 dimensions off the head, or off the top of my head, but it really boils down to, your passion, your skills, obviously you have to be able to sustain yourself, right? So it's not only about the passion, but you have to be able to provide for yourself. And if you have a family, contribute to the family as well. So it's really taking a look at all that, and do you feel fulfilled? Bottom line, do you feel like you're contributing? Uh, and and for me, so I talked about, being laser focused, you know, at the age of 14. Well, I loved my Navy experience. I was single the whole time, but I knew that I didn't want to put a future spouse through that lifestyle.
Mm.
So there I was, envisioning that I was going to retire from the Navy, only doing 6 years. Uh, and so I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I was like, okay, well, um, all right. Oh, here's the satellite systems engineering thing that, all right, there it's more of an operational role. So I'm not designing anything. And okay, yeah, let's try this. And I did that for about 2 or 3 years, and again, felt unfulfilled. And I realized, no, I'm more of a people person. And so that led me down the MBA path rather than the systems engineering path. If I would have just said, oh, yeah, I'm with this large defense contractor, uh, let me go down the systems engineering path, it probably would have been a waste of time and energy and effort. Whereas I really valued my MBA and got a lot out of it. So all that to say, again, just in summary, trust your gut. You just go with your instincts. Uh, and going back to something else I said earlier, if you want to make a transition, keep both feet planted where you are. You don't have to do anything wild and crazy, but build your network off the side. Start investigating. Hey, what's this role really look like? Start conducting those informational interviews. Start, exploring what different companies are like. Uh, you're never going to know unless you start putting yourself out there, um, and just really go after it. The world is ours, and so just go after it.
I love that. I love that you mentioned trusting your gut and then going after it. No one's going to tap you on the shoulder or knock at your door and say, very few people anyways are going to say, especially in your corporate, in your work life, how is it going? Are you, are you being fulfilled? Are you feeling purposeful? Are you feeling connected to this work? That. I tell the students, they know it when they're 17, they know it when they're 25. If this isn't working for you, trust that. Don't talk to other people that say you should just keep doing it. You're the one that has to put in the work. You're the one that has to pay for it. You're the one that has to experience it. It has to be a fit for you. And if you are wondering if it isn't, it probably isn't. If you're already
Yeah.
wondering that at a young age, even just with your education, it's probably not right. Do something about it. Trust your gut. And then, like you said, go explore. You don't have to make a move necessarily right away, but if you start asking questions or you want to switch gears, go to some of the people that are doing that work right now and ask them what their a day in life is like, informational interviewing.
Yep.
You can find out very quickly within 5 or 10 minutes if it's something that, what's a day look like for you? That's, oh my God, no, I would never want to just be sitting and looking at a spreadsheet all day long. Okay, then that's off the list now. Now you
Yeah.
know it's off the list and now you have more information. So I always say, don't be, sometimes they come in and they're defeated that they made a mistake. And it's like, no, this is information. You can switch it. The world is your oyster, like you said. There's so much out there. There's so much possible. There's so many cool, especially in Illinois Tech, so many cool majors now. There's so much more curriculum that was there when we were in college.
Yep.
There's so much that you could do, and you're super
Yep.
smart. I always say you're already smart. Like you're here, you're smart. You can figure out the rest.
Yep.
The gut is the thing that they're just not used to trusting, because I don't think in our society in general people teach it enough. And when men and women both have it, both of them have it. And there's a reason it's there. It's to teach you something and to ignite something in you. And if you don't listen, you will regret it.
Yeah.
It's going to keep coming back until you hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And one last thing along those lines is there is no linear path, right? So thank God it's now December. I hate using this analogy between September and November, but consider yourself as a tropical depression in the Eastern Atlantic. You have no idea where you're going to end up. You may hit land, you may not hit land.
Yeah.
There's the spaghetti charts. There's a lot of variety of based on the model that you're looking at where you're going to end up. Well, we know that you're going to move west. And so as you move west, in other words, as you're learning more, as you're exploring more, you're going to start to figure things out. And that path of uncertainty is going to become less. So you're going to start to nail things down. You're going to start getting closer to the shore. You're going to start to say, oh, now we're going to land in, I don't want to mention a specific geographical area, but we're going to land here and we're going to be a category 2. And this is where all things are going to be. And so again, it's not only your path, that's the beauty, is just enjoy the process and that discovery of where you're going to go. So just lots of encouragement for people as they're figuring this out, because it is just a really, really neat process. When you get to the other side and you are fulfilled, you do know that you're in the role that you want. The name of the podcast is perfect. You've got your happiness, you've got your success, and it's all right there for you.
I love that. Yeah, you are on your way, and you are. If you haven't figured out yet, it's okay. But you're That's the one thing you said. It was really good. It was, you're going to get there eventually. You're going to keep, it's always a process. You're going to keep learning and learning and learning. But you have to be comfortable with that because it's going to continue to change. There is no linear path. There's always, when you had said you had that job and you're like, I need to connect with people. So that's one thing you'll always know for the rest of your career. I have to be talking and connecting with people. I cannot be in a job where I'm just in a silo, not talking to anyone all day long. I'm the same way. I have to talk to people. So you know that now forever. That's never going to change for your personality. So every time you look for the next role, the next opportunity, you're going to say, how am I relating this strength of mine to the next thing I'm looking at? So you're not going to learn everything right away, but those big things that you learn just help you more and more and more. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Awesome. Well, so nice talking to you, Gus. How can people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you, connect with you on LinkedIn? What do you suggest?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Don't think there's too many Gus Lawsons.
Okay.
And especially, if you use your people search, that went to Illinois Tech, I'm definitely the only one that's gone to Illinois Tech. So
Awesome.
feel free to find me there. They can also email me. That's G as in Gus Lawson, Lawson 734 @gmail if you want to reach out via email.
Awesome.
And happy to engage and happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Awesome. Thanks. It was really fun talking to you. And I know people are going to get some good insight from you and wisdom, and you're definitely going to help people. So I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, Julie.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Check out the Illinois Tech Connect platform. It's the official networking site for Illinois Tech alumni. It's operated by Illinois Institute of Technology Alumni Association with help from Career Services. The aim of the platform is to connect our entire alumni community to provide a space for communication, networking, and other opportunities. Also, join the Illinois Tech Career Services group on LinkedIn and learn about all things career related. And be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Finally, as an alum, whenever you need career guidance or advice, you're always welcome to connect to the Career Services Department, make an appointment with a career coach, and take advantage of this lifelong resource available to all alumni. We can't wait to help you, and more importantly, we can't wait to see what you do.